My friend more this time.
Got two of these.
Want me to take it?
Yeah, just because I'll end up taking notes on two different things and I'll read this later. Thank you. Pay for that exec session. I think we ought to go ahead and pick a extended period of time. I think we're just gonna end up doing two if we think we can.
I think so too. That's what I would say.
Jimmy coming over?
He is. He told me to send in the bat signal.
So it'll be Jimmy, you, Danielle, and I. Is that it?
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah. Did you feel depressed when you came home? Did you feel a little depressed when you came home?
Yeah, when it was 107, after being at 68 degrees, yeah.
I felt very depressed.
Okay, it is Tuesday, August 20th, at 1 o'clock, time for our regular scheduled meeting. So, Madam Clerk, do we have a quorum?
Yes, Mayor.
Okay, it is now time for Commissioner Landgraf to give flag and invocation.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Lord, we thank you for this day today and for the rain we received last night. We ask that you continue to watch over Garden City and especially our first responders. We ask for your guidance and wisdom in all that we say and we do. In your name we pray, amen.
Amen. Okay, the next item will be approval of the minutes from the last regularly scheduled meeting, which, if no corrections, will stand approved. Do I hear any? Nope. None? Okay, those will stand approved. Next item is public comment. So if you wish to announce anything other than what's on the agenda today, please come up to the microphone and state your business. If you just state your name for the record, we'll allow you for 5 minutes.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Commissioners. I'm Callie Dyer. I'm the Executive Director for Live Finney County. And if you have not registered and you are interested in attending the fentanyl speaker this evening at Garden City High School, you still can attend. Registration has been cut off, but last week the Midwest HIDA released a report, and Finney County is 10th in the state with deaths. So it come out tonight and learn about fentanyl poisoning and the importance of knowing and being educated on that. If you'd like to attend and you haven't, please let me know so we make sure we have plenty of pizza for everybody. And if you follow us on Facebook, you'll notice today we featured one of the speakers for the prevention conference. You might know the gentleman. He's one of your colleagues, and he'll be speaking at the Kansas Prevention Conference in October. So we're excited for that speaker. It's Mr. Nguyen, so we're really excited for him as well. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Callie, where and when tonight?
Tonight it's at Garden City High School, enter through the point, and it starts at 5:30. And it's free training and free pizza.
Thank you, Callie. Anyone else? Seeing none, we'll go on to item number 6.
Mayor and Commissioners, item 6A, the governing body is asked to consider and approve a request from Alan Bowles with All Tex Gun Show to waive the sign ordinance and right-of-way restrictions and to have signs placed at 8 privately owned businesses from October 14th through 20th. The event is October 19th through 20th. Celine?
Good afternoon, Mayor and Commissioners. As Matt stated, this is a request from Alan Bowles with All Tex Gun Show. Mr. Bowles requested a waiver for, I believe, 4 shows all throughout the year. He's already brought 2 of them to you, or we've already brought 2 of them to you at the December 19th, 2023 meeting and then the March 5th, 2024 meeting. There are several locations, as you can see, that they'd like to place those signs. And then also just on August 6th, we did have a pre-meeting about special events and sign waivers and just the guideline process. We plan to bring that to you guys on September 3rd, but we did discuss specifically having those designated areas for sign placement. And the areas that Mr. Bowles has requested are different from those locations. But he did have his request for all 4 gun shows back in December of 2023. So you guys have your 2 alternatives to approve the request, the right-of-way restrictions, and have the signs placed at those privately owned businesses. He'd like to have those placed October 14th through the 20th, and he would do those placements, or you may deny the request. Staff has no recommendation.
Any questions?
Did we approve the previous 2? I didn't look back at those dates.
Yes. And I apologize, I believe it's just 3 total. And he does have the attachments where he's went to those businesses to get their approval.
I think until we really have something set and, new policy or those kind of guidelines set, I think, he's done all the work, and I think we've already approved the other 2. And after this, it might be something that's different based upon the policy or what we decide with that. And I do appreciate he went to all the businesses and has gotten all their signatures, so.
Mayor, I make the motion that we approve the request as presented.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passed.
Thank you.
Item 6B, the governing body is asked to consider and approve a request from Connie Bugard, Western Kansas Community Foundation, to waive the sign ordinance and right-of-way restrictions to have banners placed from November 25th to December 3rd at the following locations. They're listed there in your packet item. Seelin?
Again, this is match day, sign waiver request. They have 3 of the 4 designated areas that we brought to you on August 6th. And then they have 2 additional locations, which would be Commerce Bank at Fleming Street and Kansas Avenue, and then Security First Bank, which I believe was previously Valley State Bank, on Mary Street. We have approved the 1 through 3 locations in the past for 4. And so the governing body may approve the requests as presented, or you may deny the request.
Yeah, I move that we approve the request to waive the sign ordinance and right-of-way restrictions as presented.
I second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passed.
Item 6C, the governing body is asked to consider and approve a request from downtown retailers to waive the sign ordinance and right-of-way restrictions to have a banner placed at 3rd Street and Kansas Avenue from November 4th through 11th for Sip and Shop on November 9th, 2024. Seelin.
Excuse me. Again, as Matt stated, this is for the annual Sip and Shop that the downtown retailers host. They would like their sign to be placed at 3rd and Kansas from November 4th through 11th. This is similar to event requests we've received in the past for them. And the governing body may approve the request to waive the sign ordinance and right-of-way restrictions as presented, or you may deny that request. Staff has no recommendation. And I do apologize, there's an extra special event request attached to that. I didn't realize that was in their attachment, but that was sent to them as an example.
Mayor, I move we approve the request to waive the sign ordinance and right-of-way restrictions as presented.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passed.
Item 6D, the governing body is asked to consider and approve a request from Matt Geyer, Tumbleweed Festival, and Leandro Rodriguez Downtown Vision to allow under Section 6-1 possession, consumption, and sale of alcoholic liquor and cereal and malt beverage during the 2024 Fall Fest on Saturday, September 21st, 2024. Seelin.
Mayor and governing body, as you know, per city code ordinance section 6-1, it's unlawful for consumption, possession of any alcohol or cereal malt beverage in any public location such as a public park, which would be, or public park, public street, or public sidewalk. Downtown Vision was approached by Matt Geyer representing Tumbleweed Festival to be allowed to be set up as a vendor at the 2024 Fall Fest event on September 21st. Both Downtown Vision representatives and Mr. Geyer have come to an agreement that if approved by the governing body, they would set up on the north side of Grant Avenue, next to the Knights of Columbus Oktoberfest vendor stand, and they will do a 3D barrier around the consumption area. Both Janet, Leandro, and Matt Geyer are all here if you have any questions for them. Your alternatives are you may approve the request to waive code section 6-1 for consumption, possession, and sale of alcoholic liquor and cereal malt beverage on September 21st, 2024. There was a map attached, and also attached for you is the amended special event request from Fall Fest. And if you zoom in, you can see the Tumbleweed Beer Garden right there on Grant Avenue. Staff has no recommendation.
There's no questions.
And this is like for a fundraiser for Tumbleweed, or?
Yeah. So on Tumbleweed's side, again, we see it as an opportunity to start a community partnership. So that's a big piece. And then adding a budget item, income to the festival. And so, yeah, we just got in contact with Downtown Vision about doing a beer garden. They had interest in doing that, so.
Would this be the first time at Fall Fest that you'd have this, or Janet, that you guys would have a?
Mayor, move we approve the request to waive code section 6-1 for consumption, possession, and the sale of alcohol, liquor, and cereal malt beverages on September 21st, 2024 at Fall Fest.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. I just wanted to, did you have a question to Janet? Is that?
No,
Okay.
I didn't know if this was the first time or if they usually did this or it was something, I don't remember any type of a beer garden or anything like that at Fall Fest before, so. And I do appreciate that you separating it out. I mean, if this is approved, that you're doing everything to make sure that this is separated out, because, I mean, I think Fall Fest is a really well attended by lots of family and kids, and so again, I just want to make sure that that's.
For the video feed record, Janet did say that this is the first time, correct?
Yes, it is the first time.
Okay, thank you.
It's been requested by the community, so.
Okay, we do have a motion by Commissioner Nguyen and a second by Landgraf. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
Motion passed,
Thank
3-2.
you.
Thank you.
Items 7A through C are staff reports on the airport, NDS, and Lee Richardson Zoo. If you have any questions or comments on those.
Just
Alan,
great
would
to see
be the
that we
time.
set a record on employments out at the airport. It's, with the new terminal and the larger aircraft, it's great to see becoming a regional airport in western Kansas.
It's an incredible space, and I think it's really been a huge benefit to our community, so.
If there's no other comments, I'll call your attention to the meetings of note, those requiring RSVPs. If you'd please do those through the city clerk's office. I think we're now ready for item 9A. That's the appropriation ordinance. And if approved, it would be appropriation ordinance number 2569-2024A.
Mayor, I move to approve appropriation ordinance number 2569-2024A.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion passed.
Now at new business, item 12A, the governing body is asked to consider and approve entering into a professional service agreement with SCS Engineers from Wichita, Kansas to perform a cost of service rate study for the solid waste department for the amount of $51,550. Mike.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Commissioners. Excuse me. As you know, the city operates 5 public utilities: water, wastewater, electric, solid waste, and stormwater. Each utility operates independently on its own revenue stream received by the service that it provides to the community. The solid waste department's last cost of service rate study was completed by city staff in 2013. As a result of that rate study, rates have been raised by 50 cents annually for the past 10 years for all customer classes. There have been many changes in Garden City over the past 10 years, as you well know, including the way the solid waste department operates, the number of pieces of equipment needed, the cost of the collection equipment, and the overall expenses it incurs when operating the utility. Over the past 10 years, the number of solid waste customers has increased by 10,026 to 10,872 in 2024, that's about 846 additional customers. And then new accounts are added every year. The solid waste department currently is conducting the last phase of a route optimization study. That helps determine changes to the current trash collection process and suggests routes for the most cost-effective way to collect trash before purchasing additional equipment and/or adding staff to be able to do all of that. In September of 2023, staff requested proposals from qualified companies to perform a solid waste cost of service rate study. The study aims to ensure that each residential and commercial customer is being charged the appropriate fees based upon the type of service it is receiving, without having one class of customer subsidize another class of customer. The cost of service rate study will conduct a financial analysis for the long-term financial stability and assist in devising an annual financial management plan by developing a rate structure for the services provided by the solid waste department. Staff received 2 proposals for the solid waste cost of service rate study: SCS Engineers for $51,550, and Burns and McDonald replied for theirs was $198,100, and then Professional Engineering Consultants declined to submit a proposal for this work. All 3 proposals were attached to the information that was given to you in your packet. Staff agrees that SCS Engineers are qualified to perform the solid waste cost of service rate study. If the governing body approves entering into this agreement with SCS Engineers today, the results of the study will be first shared with the Public Utilities Advisory Board and then to the governing body for final review and acceptance, hopefully by the end of 2024. The governing body may choose to approve to enter into an agreement with the solid waste cost of service rate study with SCS Engineers for $51,550, or the governing body may choose not to approve the solid waste cost of service study and direct staff to find other alternatives. The staff recommends the governing body approve the solid waste cost of service rate study for SCS Engineers for $51,550. And under the fiscal note, the solid waste cost of service rate study will be funded from the solid waste engineering fees account, which currently has a balance of $125,000. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have on any of that.
I was surprised the difference in the proposals. I mean, just, so the cost, but, so the 51,000 with our SCS Engineering, they're going to accomplish everything that you set out? Okay.
Yes, they will. We'll provide them with the additional information we have from our route optimization study that will help them with that. We would have provided that. The
right.
Were selected.
Yeah, I move that we enter agreement with a solid waste cost of service rate study with SCS Engineers for $51,550.
I second.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passed.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Item 6B, the governing body is asked to consider and approve the distribution of the additional round of $75,000 of AFAC funds as recommended by the Livewell-Finney County Board. Danielle.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Commissioners. As you know, AFAC funds are established in state law. The state law also prescribes how those monies are to be distributed among local government units. With few treatment and prevention facilities and agencies in Garden City, past awards have largely been made to agencies which have provided an expanded definition of prevention based on accepted categories of prevention strategies. This added flexibility aims to keep the funds local. The city went through a grant application process earlier this year and awarded $63,414 between the two grant application processes, and there was $100,000 budgeted, which left $36,586 remaining for this calendar year. On June 18th of this year, the City Commission authorized an additional round of funding in the amount of $75,000 total, with a cap of $25,000 per application, to help support two City Commission goals for 2024 and 2025. Those two goals are youth leadership engagement and support local healthcare providers in the community. The proposal still needed to identify the connection between the programming and prevention, intervention, education, or treatment, but the goal was that this concerted effort in these two areas will help move these initiatives forward and provide some one-time funding opportunities to expand agency capacity. There were 6 applications received, totaling $134,444, and each of those applications is attached. The Live Well Finney County Board has reviewed those applications and makes the following recommendation. So their recommendation was to award funding to Excelicare in the amount of $15,556, to Garden City Community College in the amount of $25,000, to Pivot Robotics in the amount of $9,444, and to Real Men, Real Leaders in the amount of $25,000 for the full $75,000 that was identified. It should be noted that the only agency that applied for funding and was awarded funding in this previous process that we had earlier this year was Big Brothers and Big Sisters. So there are 3 alternatives before you this afternoon. The first is the governing body may approve the recommendation to award 4 applicants as recommended by the Live Well Finney County Board. Alternative 2 is the governing body may alter the recommendation and award funding as the governing body sees fit, or the governing body may not approve the recommendation and send the item back for further review. Staff recommends the governing body approve the recommendation to award the 4 applicants as recommended by the Live Well Finney County Board. The fiscal note tied to this is that if approved, the city would expend $75,000 from the AFAC fund for the purposes of funding these additional funding requests. After these expenditures, there would be approximately $170,960 remaining in this fund, which again has to be used for specific purposes in terms of education, prevention, and intervention for drug and alcohol use. So limited scope of funds, so there still is a fund balance remaining if you all decide to proceed with the action today. And we do have Callie Dyer here with Live Well Finney County. If you do have applications related to some of the discussion that board had as they were reviewing the applications.
I didn't know, Callie, if you did like a matrix when you chose because I know a lot of either ones that are going to be awarded would appreciate what they did really well. And I didn't know if you guys had like a matrix you used or any comments or.
Dyer Live Well, and I also have my vice chair, Scott Kudowski, with me as well. In the past, we have done a matrix, but what it comes down to is the application, how well the application is done, how many times that organization has applied and received it. And so it has just been a discussion, and sometimes the board, I don't have a vote, the board is the one that does the vote, and then there's just some discussion. And we had some new ones this time, like Excelicare was a new one, the robotics was a new one, and there was like, the robotics one was one that was like a hands down, a good one for the youth leadership. One, it was a positive one. And so it's just been one that, and another one is that trying to keep those monies local and doing things as set forth as the city commission has those goals set forth. So, and trying to stay true to the fact that those monies are supposed to be used for prevention monies. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, I didn't know, like, I didn't know if you had a matrix where you're talking about what they did really well.
But
okay.
Those matrices
have
been on alcohol and drug, and so when those are specific for leadership or.
Oh, I see, yeah.
And I don't know how often or what you guys see as those applications. That application is all over the place. They're not a typical grant application, and so it's not real easy to do a matrix when it comes to a grant application. It's probably the easiest grant application that I've ever seen in my entire career. So, any other questions that I can field for you?
That answered I was going to ask the same question as Commissioner Unruh about, because I know in the past we've seen a
had a
matrix
matrix,
which you
yeah.
guys have used.
Yes.
So that's what, I was just going to ask that.
No.
So thank you for answering.
Yeah, but when you change the
Right.
The
two
focus.
things, so
Right.
yeah, it changes that matrix. So.
Yeah, I thought the applications were excellent. I mean, I thought there was a lot of innovative. I really appreciate some of the new ones. I thought that was really that's a neat thing to see in the community, and also having these funds actually be available rather than sitting there in some pool, I think makes a big difference. So with that, I move that we approve the recommendations to award the 4 applicants as recommended by the Live Well Finney County Board.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
I do want to say thank you to Live Well for taking on this additional round, especially the board for reading the applications and to deliberate these impactful initiatives.
Thanks for being here, Scott. I know there's a million other things you can do, but as the representative of the board, I think that's important, so thank you.
Yeah, I think it was interesting. Well, not interesting. I think it's amazing that these groups are putting dollars in the community. So appreciate the fact that this grant is available for them to use. And I think you're weighing in as far as the board on considering those dollars for those is huge. An amount that what they can do with that within the community is awesome. So thanks for all that work. I know it's not easy, but we appreciate you reading through all of that. I've read through every single one of them, and Acceleracare seems to be doing something great that's new for the community that I feel it would be a huge asset for the community. So on that. So, and then the robotics one too would be, that's an amazing thing for the kids to look forward to in the future. So amazing things that people are doing here in the community. So thank you for this grant application and the availability of them. So with that, any other discussion? Nope. All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passed. Thank you.
Item 6C, or I'm sorry, 12C, the governing body is asked to, this is I've got a different agenda.
12C?
Looks like it's the park name for the new community park. Is that what you have?
No. Item 12C. The governing body is asked to consider and approve a park name for the new community park in Southeast Garden City. Nolan.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Commissioners. Back on July 16th, the governing body approved the solicitation and selection process for the naming of our new community park in the southwest quadrant of Garden City. And over the past three and a half weeks, members of the public submitted 8 different nominations, each reflecting a unique significance and community contributions. The Parks and Rec Advisory Board reviewed these nominations and provided recommendations to the City Commission. 6 of our 7 board members responded and ranked these names, with 1 being the top choice, 8 being the least preferred choice. The table below presents the nominations, their overall ranking averages, and total scores, and that number of first place votes they received. Levita Rollman emerged as the most preferred candidate, receiving the most first place votes and the best ranking average. You'll see here the table has the name, the average, and then it also has the total top rankings. That's number of first place votes is pretty much what that is. The Parks and Recreation Department and Parks and Recreation Advisory Board respectfully request the City Commissioners review the applications and select the most fitting name for the new community park. This decision is important in shaping the park's identity and should reflect the values and aspirations of our community. So before you are 2 alternatives. The first, the governing body may approve any of the current nominations for the naming of the new Southeast Community Park. And then alternative 2, the governing body may reject all proposed names and suggest an alternative. The Parks and Recreation Advisory Board's rankings recommend the naming of Southeast Community Park be named after Lavetta Roman based on her involvement in the Garden City community. Staff has no recommendation and there's no fiscal note attached to this. And I can answer any questions you may have.
I read through this and I was trying to figure out, there was a lot of qualified people. I was trying to figure out how the committee, if there was some sort of matrix or guidelines on, because the memo states due to the first place vote that of the individual being highly involved in the community. Well, most of those people on the list were. So I was trying to figure out how you came up with the rankings. I mean, I noticed that they voted, but was there some sort of matrix? I was trying to figure out how they came up with the most qualified person for this.
Yeah, for the most part, I just took the average of where they had ranked them. When we sent it out, we wanted them to rank 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then where they averaged, the lower average. So Lavetta, for instance, was 2.67. A lot of that probably, you want to be the low number, similar to like golf. And like my scores. But the number of first place votes, she did have 3. So
Sure.
That's going to bring her number down a little more than somebody that maybe didn't get any top votes. But we just asked that they read through all of them, and it's really opinion based, who they felt based on the application process was the strongest candidate or most deserving per se. And that's kind of how we came up with that ranking of taking that average and then showing the total score. So her total score with all 6 people voting, if you add them all together, was 16. And then she had 3 first place votes. So.
I appreciate seeing the names because some of these people, and unfortunately they've gone, they're no longer with us, but they did make huge impacts in the community. And so I really appreciated, just reading through, and especially where they talked about some of the support letters. I thought those are really moving and just indicated how much these people have really impacted. And I wish we had more parks that we could name after them, but yeah.
I know one of the people that requested or made the request is here in the audience. If maybe that person wants to speak, or there might be others.
Yeah, I think I see 1, 2. If they'd like to come up and speak, they're more than welcome to. And just so that if you want to come up to the microphone and state your name, you can. But while you're coming up, if you do, this is kind of hard for us too, as far as trying to pick. These are great names, wonderful, great names that people in the community have done for us here. So it's hard for us to just pick one. So if you have any further statements that you'd like to bring forward to the microphone for the public, feel free. We ask that you do, so it maybe helps us a little bit. But I know the ranking here too was a good part on the city's part to go ahead and put these names down. So.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Jeff Wood. Good job, good work. I'm here to ask you to give some consideration to this naming opportunity to Bob Howard, who was our Assistant City Manager and City Manager for about 33 years. Bob was a Golden Buffalo, moved here not long after he graduated from college and spent the rest of his career as Assistant City Manager with Dean Wiley and then as our City Manager. He passed away in 2016. His wife, Tamara Halloran, still lives here, still lives in the same home. Bob just did a lot for our community. He led when I was on our city commission like you guys are, he was the guy with all the information and answers. He was very impartial. Didn't try to lead us around opinion-wise, just gave us a lot of good information. So you might consider that, please.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Commissioners. My name is Caverly Hart. I'm a trustee for the Bennett Foundation, and I am here to encourage the park being named after Bob Howard. The city, as you know, is one of the 3 major beneficiaries of the Finnick Foundation. Bob was always very good to work with. We appreciated him, and we appreciated his camaraderie and his advocacy. So I would really like to see the park named after Bob Halloran. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Nolan, did you have any other discussion that the committee had kind of discussed that maybe you could share with us as well?
No, like I said, we sent it out. They felt there was a lot of really good candidates as well, and depending on maybe they knew an individual versus another individual, and that might have swayed their vote, but I wouldn't be able to speak to that at all. So.
Well, I'd like to thank them for their time and looking through this. I know, this is one of the bigger decisions that we as a city commission make. Once you put a name on something, it's there forever. So.
Yeah, and I mean, Mary Ann Miller is my wife's grandmother, and so I'm a little bit biased. I would choose her. That would be my first option. So just so that the family knows and hears me that I'm up here voting, pulling for her. But I do also knew Ernie Ortiz too, and he went to the community church. Not related to me, but great guy. So those two I know on a personal level. I couldn't tell you that I've Ronaldo Mesa met a few times and had a couple conversations, but out of the other names, I don't know any of them. I mean, I know of them, but I don't know them on a personal level.
And I appreciate that they honored Russ Jennings through with the new detention center. I think that's, so for that, I think, he was an incredible advocate for our community, and so I'm glad they've honored him in that way. And Bob Halloran, trained our own city manager, and so, it's been, don't
hold that against him.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, we still like him. I'm just kidding. But it's a hard. Mary Ann Miller was an incredible inspiration and impact in my life in many ways. She sat there every day at the YMCA doing her hair, rolling her hair in curlers, and so always had a cheerful. And so that's a hard one for me too. But I do know Bob Halloran was, an incredible influence for many, many years. So. I don't know Lavita Roman. I don't know her at all.
Mayor, move that we approve the nomination for Bob Halloran for the naming of Southeast Community Park.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, aye. Motion passed, 4-1.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nolan. D, correct? 12D. The governing body is asked to consider and approve up to 4 voting delegates for the League of Kansas Municipalities 2024 Annual Conference. Is Celine on this one? If not, I can do it. Is she close? I've got this. The League of Kansas Municipalities Annual Business Meeting and Convention of Voting Delegates will be on Monday, October 14th during the League's annual conference. The League is now collecting registrations for voting delegates and alternates. Kansas State statute provides that the governing body of each member city may elect city delegates from among the city's officers to represent the city in the conduct and management of the affairs of the League of Kansas Municipalities. Article 2, Section 2 of the League bylaws state that when a city is a member of the League, which we are, any elected or appointed officers of such city may be elected by the governing body as voting delegates and alternate voting delegates in accordance with the provisions of Article 4 of these bylaws to represent the city in any meeting of the voting delegates and in the conduct of any other affairs of the instrumentality requiring action of the member cities. Alternate voting delegates, it goes on to describe alternate voting delegates, I don't think. you've all read the packet. So anyways, the chore before you is to identify those that would be the voting delegates at this year's annual league meeting conference. Those attending that we have confirmed now are Commissioner Cessna, Commissioner Nguyen, and City Clerk Hurtado. That's 3 of the 4. I would say there's a better than average chance I may attend as well if you want to go ahead and include that now. But I don't believe it would be necessary. If you want to just stick with the 3 of you that are confirmed right now, that's fine too. I think we'll be well represented with the 3 of you. Most of the votes in the history of the League of Kansas Municipality have been voice votes from the audience. I would, in my career, I haven't seen an issue divisive enough where they've called the membership up to certify who you are and the registry. So really, it's going to be a voice action at a general session of the league conference.
There's another roll call. Yep. So I approve that we approve Commissioner Cessna, Commissioner Nguyen, and City Clerk Hurtado as voting delegates for the 2024 annual business meeting.
A second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion passed.
Item 12E. The governing body is asked to consider and reject M&T Excavation LLC's bid of $176,637 for the Jameson Energy Center Stormwater Drainage Improvements Project.
Good afternoon
Mike.
again. Excuse me. The governing body is asked to consider and reject that bid from M&T Excavation for $176,637. The Jameson Energy Center is requiring improvements to be completed to the current stormwater drainage system due to some erosion and other construction improvements to the interior and exterior perimeters of the site. Bids for the Jameson Energy Center improvements were led on July 3rd, 2024. We had a mandatory attendance pre-bid meeting on July 15th of 2024. At the location, 5 local contractors attended the meeting. Then on August 5th, 2024 at 1:30, we opened the bids and only one bid was received from M&T Excavation. And that bid was for $176,637, which was 60% over staff's estimate of $110,000. We did visit with this contractor, M&T, and let them know that our recommendation was going to be to reject the bid due to the high cost. The contractor actually gave us some suggestions on some different materials that we may be able to look into using. So alternatives today is the governing body may approve M&T's excavation bid and authorize the mayor to sign it. Option 2 would be the governing body may reject the bid and direct staff to find an alternative. Staff recommends the governing body reject all bids and direct staff to find an alternative. And I'm happy to answer any other questions on that.
So is it just because is it such a specialized job that we didn't get any more bids than this? And it was way over the cost?
Yeah.
Or what?
I think, Commissioner, in part, it's because all the contractors are extremely busy.
Right.
So that
Okay.
raises the price. And then 2, some of the materials that we specified that were part of the original design of the Jameson site had to be trucked in from an alternate location. So I think that drove that price up as well.
Okay.
So as far as like your timeline, is this something that can wait in order, or that, and then you won't need that right away? Or is this something that you're saying, hey, we have to have this within?
We would like to get it done certainly before winter, if possible. And if not, certainly before next spring when we actually start getting some runoff again. If you choose to reject this bid today, then we would immediately go back and relook at those specifications and probably re-advertise.
I move that we reject all bids and direct staff to find an alternative.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? I have one question, Mike. What's the threshold of the amount to be over an engineer's estimate? Is
Typically,
there
it's 10%.
10%?
Yeah. In our financial guidelines, that's what's recommended.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passed.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Mayor, item 12F is an executive session. We don't anticipate any action being required after that executive session. So if it's all right with you, we'll move on to the consent agenda and then the commission reports. The consent agenda, if the commission approves, would be approving consent agenda items 13A and 13B.
Mayor, I move to approve consent agenda items 13A and 13B.
I second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passed.
Ready for commissioner reports.
All right, so commissioner reports. First up, Commissioner Landgraf.
I just want to remind folks about the Blue versus Red lemonade stand going on August 23rd. Starts at 7 p.m. It's at Golden Plates Credit Union. It's a free will donation benefiting the Special Olympics of Kansas. It's the police department versus the fire department and county EMS. So just reminding folks about that. Also, like to remind folks about the Tumbleweed Festival this weekend as well. Also, 2 weeks ago, I was able to be part of the National Night Out. It was great being able to see everyone from the community during the National Night Out, be able to have a good community bonding type of atmosphere and seeing everyone. Also, I asked Mike if he would come up here and give an update on the campus street project.
Yes, Commissioner. As you know, we started the mill and overlay project on Campus Avenue, kind of north from McMary Street up to the bypass. Started last week. What we ran into, the contractor ran into some mechanical issues with some equipment for one. The other, we found some softer spots, if you will, in the base material underneath, so we had to excavate that out. They started paving the southbound lane this morning. We anticipate, if everything goes right, that we finish paving by 5 o'clock tomorrow, and then city crews will go in and restrike that project probably Monday. The latest. That's the current status.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And that is everything I have.
Thank you, Commissioner. Next, Commissioner Nguyen.
Yeah, I rode with Officer Zorn for National Night Out. We attended all the block parties that evening. It was a really great turnout and a lot of solid fun seeing so many kids dance and with fire trucks spraying them. It was solid. I was also invited to help lead a one-day prayer in action. So it's kind of similar to a day of service up in Blue Rapids, Kansas. So a big change of topography for someone from Western Kansas. There are about 30 young people offering a Friday in their summer, which blows me away, to serve the community. A thank you to the Turber family who hosted me, and especially a thank you to the second youngest Turber, Jack Turber, who's about 8 years old. He was my right-hand man, my handyman all day long, a little sidekick, so thank you, Jack. And then I also attended the Emmaus House Lunch and Learn. Really grateful to be in this position to learn and listen to the people who make incredible differences at the local and the state level in our community. Thank you to the Emmaus Director, Brittany Knoll, and also Catholic Charities of Southwest Kansas for advocating all the housing concerns that we actually don't see a lot of the times in our community. Lastly, I served at the Chamber of Commerce wine tasting this past Saturday. It was a blast to learn about all these different wines and also see the puckered faces of the people that came by my table, those who tried the really tart wine that I was serving. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Nguyen. Next, Commissioner Unruh.
So I want to say thank you to just all the applications for the recent AFAC grants. I think it's really important that we continue to encourage our community to do innovative and inspirational things. I think there's a lot of opportunities, and implement again with drug and alcohol being issues in our community, and knowing that we've got to do something, and part of that is us stepping out and really stepping up to do something with these programs in these communities. I really appreciated their opportunities with the healthcare. I thought that was really interesting. That was one of the ones that really shined also. I am excited for the Southeast Community Park, or now the Bob Holleran Park. He was an incredible man. I think he impacted and touched a lot of people's lives. And sometimes when you leave the community or when you pass away, that can be forgotten. And I'm so grateful that people remembered him to bring him up, and I really appreciate all of the people on that list. There were so many. It was great reading through and the memories of some of those people, and so I think it's really important that we honor those who are really making an impact. And even though none of us last forever, Now, hopefully, Hollering Park will last forever, so it'll be a good deal. And for those of you who have not been in the community seeing all the different things happening, I'm going to tell you, all the building and everything that's going on, I really appreciate the contracts they're doing. Kansas Avenue are doing absolutely incredible. It is so close to being finished. So thank everyone in Garden City for their patience with all of the constructions. But what they see when you see the yellow cones or you see the orange cones, that you know that something good is happening. So I'm excited about what is happening in Garden City. And that's all.
Thank you, Commissioner Unruh. Next, Commissioner Cessna.
I just wanted to reiterate the fentanyl crisis training this evening at Garden City High School, 5:30. Starts there this evening. I know it's an issue not only in our part of the world, but pretty much everywhere in the United States. So I think if the more educated we become about this, it'll help our community. Mike, I'm going to ask you to come up one more time, putting you on the spot. The lighting on Kansas Avenue, can you give us a quick update on how that's, I see they're starting to put more poles and lights up, but how's that going? And when do we expect that to be completed?
Commissioner, those, as you suggested, there's new light poles going up, not traffic light poles. People sometimes get confused by that name. These are actually
the lighting
that light up the street right away for safer traffic and pedestrians that's walking. This whole project goes from Campus Avenue on Kansas Avenue west all the way to 3rd Street, where it ties into existing new lighting. The first phase is almost complete, and that's from Campus to Fleming. You've noticed some of the lighting on the secondary street to the side. There really wasn't ever lighting on there before. So if you notice, there's two arms. One reaches clear over that way, the other one reaches that way. It'll light up that pathway of that street as well. So the project's moving along well. I think the first phase actually may be turning on tonight or this week at the latest. And then when this is done, they'll move to the next section, which will be from Fleming to Center Street. And then the last bit is we're waiting for that contractor to get off of Kansas Avenue. We'll go in and finish that section. So progressing very well. It's been in the plans for many, many years, and we've finally been able to get in there and get it done. It has been disruptive. We certainly thank the public, not only for that project, but also up on Campus Avenue, having patience with closing lanes and trucks in the way and everything else.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And that's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner. Okay, I'll just start off by, we just ask for your patience humbly for all of the construction cones and stuff out there. So we appreciate the fact that city is looking forward to what our city can become, and appreciation to Matt for his leadership as far as, looking ahead to towards that vision as our forthcomers have done, and what a wonderful way to celebrate that with the new Southeast Park naming of Bob Holleran's great treasures that he left behind before us in our community. So appreciate that. Just following in the footsteps as those before us is a challenge. So we just ask again for your patience and the fact that we are looking towards the future of Garden City and what that looks like. So I won't reiterate everything that was said up here by my fellow commissioners, but a lot of it is true. The Emmaus House, we did attend that meeting, and it was an eye-opener for the fact that we are short on housing and the homelessness that comes with it. So I just ask for prayers for this year's election, prayers for our college students who have left our community and hopefully will return, but also for our high school kids and grade school, elementary kids here in the community as well. So we pray for the newspapers and the stations that put out the news for us. And we just ask that everyone in our community is blessed and has a safe year this year. So that is it. So thank you, everybody. And we'll go into our executive session.
Yeah, Commissioners, this is item 12F. And again, after the executive session, we don't anticipate action. So after the vote to go into executive session, I'll ask our staff to shut down the Channel 8 broadcast. Commissioners, this is a request to go into executive session pursuant to KSA 75-4319B2 pertaining to consultation with an attorney for the body or agency which would be deemed privileged in the attorney-client relationship and for the specific purpose of contract negotiations. And we'd ask that this be for 30 minutes with City Attorney Cunningham, with Assistant City Attorney Dummermuth, Assistant City Manager Burke, and myself. That's it.
Would you guys like a break?
No.
Okay. Mayor, I move we go into executive session pursuant to KSA 75-4319B2 pertaining to consultation with an attorney for the body or agency which be deemed privileged in the attorney-client relationship for contract negotiations with City Attorney Jennifer Cunningham, Assistant City Attorney Jimmy Dunnermuth, City Manager Matt Allen, and Assistant City Manager Danielle Burke.
For how long?
For 30 minutes. Starting at 1:55 and ending at 2:25. 1:56 and 2:26.
Second.
Sorry.
Commissioner Unruh seconded. So all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passed. Thank you, everyone.